Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy Win, back with another video. Hey bro, so I know everybody's hyped up, everybody's talking, and all the chatter online is really all about GTA 6 as it pertains to, the year 2026. What's going to be the big game, what's going to be the generational leap. But I do want to say over the last few months, I've spent time with a bunch of different games, bro. And honestly, some of them are the biggest surprises of the year so far. And they aren't the games I expected. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about them. Now, I'm not going to do a full review of any of these today, but instead I kind of want to talk about the games I spent the most time with in 2026, and what keeps me playing and what keeps pulling me back in. And which ones I think have a real shot of being considered one of the better games of 2026. If there's a game on this list that you guys want a deep dive of, we can definitely do it. Let me know in the comments. So real quick, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. So, the last few months I've been playing Saros, Invincible Versus, Lego Batman, 007 First Light, Crimson Desert, and those are just a few of them, right? Some of them I've spent 20 plus hours in. Some of them I feel like I've only barely scratched the surface of. But all of them have given me something to talk about. So, today we're definitely going to dive into it. Let's start off with Saros. So for me, I've put around 20 hours into it, a little over that. The biggest thing I think for me that's bringing me back to it is the gameplay loop. The way the game feels, the way that the world changes every time, it gives you something new to look at, new challenges to overcome. It has a compelling story. The gameplay is great. It's like I've said, for those of you who have been following the channel and have seen my Saros review, like I said, that's probably one of the most addictive games I played this year. I play it a couple times a week. Like I said, it gives you a new world every time. The boss battles are dynamic. You got great gameplay. The mechanics are great. The skill tree, the way it's set up is great. The atmosphere is great. The graphics are great. For me, graphics aren't everything in a game, but they do help. And, when you stack the graphics and the atmosphere and the world design on top of the gameplay that Saros is able to bring to the table, you end up with one of the better games of the year. I'm telling you. I think Saros, now, I'm going to call it right now. I think Saros will be nominated for Game of the Year. It will be nominated. It will be a nominee. I'm not saying it's going to win, but I think it'll be a nominee. And it could truly be a nominee. What surprised me about it is really, like I said, just how addictive it is. I didn't expect to be roped in that much to it. Going into it, I'm not a big roguelike player. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like, a lot of people compare Saros to Returnal. And those of you who've played Returnal, what that game is like. I've never been a fan of Returnal, and I've never been a fan of games like that. You know what I'm saying? So going into Saros, I was like, okay, I'll play it, make some content for it. That's going to be about it. But no, bro, that game is actually fire. I've played it a good amount, and I'm enjoying it every time I hop on it. Every time I stop playing, I find myself wanting to come back to it. It's just finding the time to come back to it. You know what I'm saying? So next game up on the list. Let's go. Let's talk about Invincible Versus. Now, Invincible Versus is probably one of the bigger surprises on this list because it's a fighting game. I've got around, just like Saros, I have about 20 hours into it. I think, I talked about it in a previous video. I think what is surprising about it to me is just how accessible it is. For fighting game fans and fighting game vets, people who dedicate hours and hours and hours on end mastering fighting games, I can understand the frustration because it's not for you. It's not for you. It's just not. There is a skill gap. So if you can learn it like that, like master it, you will be better than 99% of the players. But you can get away with button spam. You can get away with just button mashing, right? On the other hand, that increases the accessibility. People being able to play, from all walks of life. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, I'm not a fighting game fan. Like, yeah, I've played MK. Yeah, I played, Injustice. You know what I'm saying? Those are two examples, but I don't play those religiously. But with Invincible Versus, I became a fan of the TV show. So I liked the IP. I bought the game, and when I played the game, I was like, "Oh, this is fun. This is a very fun game. It doesn't have anything to do with battle passes, microtransactions, anything like that. It gives you good customization. The gameplay is fantastic, at least in my opinion. And that's coming from somebody who is a casual fighting game player. You have good replayability. I think you have the only downside I would say with that game is the short story. Now again, it's probably going to be expanded upon with updates and expansions coming later down the pike, but as far as the whole package at launch for a $50 game, it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game, especially if you are a fan of Invincible, just the characters, the world, the TV show, all of that, or you're into the comic books, you will enjoy the game. But if you're just solely a fighting game player or a fighting game fan, you may or may not. It just depends on really how big a fan you are of the IP, and can you deal with button spam, because you're gonna get button spam, or you're gonna get button spam or button mash opponents. I'm one of them with certain characters, like Battle Beast. I don't know his full range of motion, but if I get you close, I'll just whack you 100 times and it's over with. But yeah, to me, that game exceeded expectations. I didn't think it would be as good, but it's been pretty good. That was, it wasn't a game I expected to spend as much time as I have with it. I didn't expect to spend as much time as I have playing that game. So, moving on, let's go ahead and talk about Lego Batman. So the new Lego Batman that just came out now, I've only put in about 10 hours, so not that much. But Lego Batman is all about pure comfort gaming, bro. It's a pure video game, and it gives you that nostalgia, that hit of nostalgia that OGs have been looking for, where when it comes to the Arkham franchise and the Batman IP in general. It lets you experience different eras of Batman. You got all the different suits, you got different Batmobiles, and you get an open world Gotham City. You get a bunch of sequences and cutscenes and things that come straight from the movies that are going to hit home for a lot of us who are Batman fans. It's simple. That's another thing for me. I think the simplicity of it. No battle passes, again, no battle passes, no microtransactions, no, none of that. And it's still a great game. You can have couch co-op, you can have split screen, you can play online with friends, you can do all of this stuff. And it seems like, what I've been preaching over my channel the last few weeks has just been, can we get developers that are going to focus on fun first? The 2 F's. Fun first. All right? Fun first. If you guys focus on fun first, the money will follow. We've seen that replicated multiple times throughout the industry. Fun first. And, the developers for this game, you can tell a lot of love went into it, a lot of thought went into it, and they went in with just the mindset and the objective to give fans what they want, and make an enjoyable, fun Batman experience. Moving on, another game. Let's go ahead and talk about Crimson Desert. This one, I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of. I feel like I have not nearly put in enough time to be able to say that it's the best game of the year. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people it's kind of a mixed bag. I've seen online, like a lot of people online will say, oh, it's a great game. And then some people are like, no, I can't get into it. And I think part of that is because of the way that the game is designed. Like, it kind of just drops you into this massive open world and you have all these different characters, and it does not hold your hand. It just kind of says, here you go, and it lets you off the leash. You can just do whatever you want. And that is intimidating for a lot of players, I will say, because not having a linear direction and not having, kind of an idea of what to do first can be daunting to a new player, especially if they're not used to games being that way. But for me, I want to get into it more, but the time that I've spent with it, I'm just blown away by the detail, the world, the attention to detail, I should say, the world. Some of the characters are pretty cool. I'm blown away. I actually like the combat. I think the combat is pretty solid, and I think that's one of the games so far for me that I can kind of just hop on and lose myself in. I may not even do like a main quest. I may just hop on, ride around on my horse, look at the world, look at the scenery, all that stuff, and I'll play it for like an hour or two and then just hop off of it, because there's just so much to do. It's so dense with content, and they keep updating it. From what I hear, I've got friends and people who've played it more hours and put more hours and more time into it than I have, and from everything I've heard from them, like they still love the game. They've put, I'm talking about 50 plus hours into it and still have not beaten the game. So, I don't have time to play it all the way through, but the time that I have put into it, I am enjoying it. And like I said at the beginning, I feel like I barely scratched the surface with this one, but it would not surprise me to see it be nominated for Game of the Year. It would not surprise me at all. So last but not least, let's go ahead and dive into 007 First Light. So this is, I would say that it's probably the most fun that I've had so far out of any of the games, and I think it's the one that hits me the hardest, because it brings in elements of games I used to play and loved. So I had somebody on TikTok just yesterday actually hit me up and was like, yo, I got this gift card, like, I don't know, should I buy 007 or what? And I just gave him a quick like rundown. I was just like, I think if you've played Hitman, I think if you've played Uncharted, I think if you've played Splinter Cell, I think if you've enjoyed or played any of those, and then you, on top of that, you're a fan of 007, you will love this game, and you're probably not going to want to hop off of it. I think now, if you were never a fan of Uncharted, Hitman, Splinter Cell, you never got into any of those, then maybe wait a bit. So with that being said, I've played it for a few hours. When it came out on I think it was the 26th or 27th, I played it for a few hours. I ran into a glitch almost immediately. It was pretty funny.
Tell me who I'm meeting.
You're here to see M.
M. Right. You're really enjoying this, aren't you?
And you're not?
Not particularly, no.
But other than that, I haven't had any major technical difficulties. Now, some slight problems with the AI logic, some of the pathing, as it pertains to like some of the stealth sections. Like, the AI doesn't strike me as super intelligent, but it's serviceable. I told you I played it a few hours on the 27th, 28th. So yesterday, being Friday, I actually got a chance to spend like 4 or 5 more hours with it. Like I said, since the first 2 hours of the game, having that hang or bug or glitch or whatever, I've had no problems, and I've actually gotten more into the game. I think this is one of the games I'm most excited to continue playing, because the difference between this and Hitman, even though it's by the same developers at IO, it doesn't, the way that it's set up, it isn't set up like a Hitman game. It's not set up where you're like, oh, okay, look at this UI screen and then pick your mission and select modifiers and get your, you know, your briefing on the side of the screen. It's like, it's none of that. It's more cinematic, more, you know, linear in that aspect, but it's not. So you'll go to like a HQ and then you got to go get your gear from a lower level, but the whole time you're like seeing other gadgets being invented and things of that nature. And then you're trying to get, once you go and get your gear, then you got to go and get briefed on the mission, and then it transitions to the mission. And then, you know, so it's more linear and more structured in that way. And I think that with building the game like that and making the game like that, you make it more immersive because it doesn't take you out of the game. It keeps you locked in. But I'm enjoying it so far. I really am. And I cannot wait to play it tonight. You know, based on, I put a community poll up yesterday, and I wanted to see what you guys' opinion was on what we should do for stream. So if you guys haven't checked it out, go on there and vote. You know, the ones who have voted so far, 007 First Light is winning. So I think that's what we're gonna be playing. But if there's, you know, one of these other games that I've mentioned today, if there's another game on this list that you guys would be more interested in watching than 007, then let me know in the comments and go vote in the poll. You know, I need more time with it with 007, but I can completely understand why, you know, a lot of people are talking about it right now. It could end up being one of the better games of 2026 if it's not there already, you know. So those are the games that have taken up most of my time this year so far. You know, obviously not all of them will be nominated for Game of the Year. You know, not all of them are, you know, made for everyone. But, you know, these games keep pulling me back in, you know, even with WWE 2K26, even with NBA 2K, you know, my yearly sports games. These games I've listed today are the ones that have taken my attention away. Bars. You know, now I want to hear from you guys. You know, what's the best game you've played so far this year? What's the one that's, you know, keeping your attention the longest? And which one of these would you like to see me cover more deeply at some point? Yeah, man. So other than that, thank you guys for joining me, man. If you guys made it to the end of the video, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. You know what it is. It is your boy Win. If you guys are interested in more gaming content, whether it be WWE, NBA 2K, Madden, anything, man, 007, you already know what it is, bro. Tap in with your boy. It's been your boy Win, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.